everyone for joining us today. My name is Kevin Won with the Retirement Group. Today I'm joined by my colleague, Carlos Hernandez. Just full disclaimer before we get started, the Retirement Group, we're not affiliated with Kaiser, nor are we affiliated with Vanguard. But we're going to be covering several KP topics today. We're going to focus on the healthcare options when you actually separate from the company. There's going to be an opportunity to ask questions. There's going to be a chat box. If you have any questions, feel free to type those into the chat box. At the end of the presentation, we'll try to get to as many questions as we possibly can. So Carlos, let's go ahead and get started.
Thanks for getting us started there, Kevin, and going through that intro page there for us. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. For those that are joining us for the first time, my name is Carlos Hernandez. I'm one of the client service associates here at the Retirement Group. And like Kevin said, the Retirement Group is an independent financial advising firm. We're not a part of Kaiser, but unlike most financial planning firms out there, we specifically work with Kaiser employees. Meaning, when we help our clients prepare for their retirement, we're going to be well-versed in how their plans actually work, such as their pension, their 401k, their TSA, and even the retiree medical benefits, such as the Kaiser Senior Advantage Plan, as well as their HSA accounts. All things that we think we need to know in order to give you prudent advice and help you build a comprehensive retirement plan. And as Kevin had mentioned, for today's agenda, we're going to be talking about healthcare and essentially some of the biggest concerns going into retirement. With that, one of the major concerns for people going into retirement, for those that are in retirement, and for those that are planning, retirement down the road, is essentially running out of money. From time after time, year after year, this has been one of the biggest concerns. So essentially making sure that your money is going to outlast you in retirement, which, there's a lot of factors that go into it. You really have to calculate your expenses, making sure that, your income and assets that you have set aside for retirement justify that expense amount. If this is something that, you're not familiar with or haven't ran any numbers, we'd be more than happy to kind of assist you through that by offering what we do is a complimentary cash flow analysis, which we'll dive a little bit deeper as we go through the presentation a little bit more. And another biggest concern for those that are going into retirement, and as well as for those in retirement, is healthcare. Healthcare has been one of the leading rising costs in retirement. If a lot of you may experience, inflation this past year, what that entailed, the rising cost, of products and goods all across the board, one of them being healthcare. So with, technological advances, people living longer, medication getting better, people are living longer. So these healthcare costs are going up. And with interest rates, it's definitely not helping out as well. So this is going to be one of the biggest concerns for people going into retirement. And a lot of the times, people that are going into retirement or planning for their retirement underestimate the cost of healthcare. This is kind of one of those costs that is essentially very unexpected. And when it comes to retirement and they're actually looking at their options, they might find out that healthcare is a lot more expensive than they thought. And this is something that we could essentially clarify up for you using a complimentary cash flow analysis at no charge, no cost. We'd be more than happy, Kevin and I, or anybody from our team would be more than happy to sit down and go through with you as well. So, what's my cost of healthcare going into retirement? For the average American, they really underestimate this expense. For a lot of people, they assume that healthcare is going to cost them around 40 to anywhere from 50 to 60,000 in their retirement, which, unfortunately is a shortfall and a significant one, in fact. And as you see here, the expected shortfall from that amount is right around 274,000. So if we look at the real cost of healthcare into retirement, a couple around age 65 can expect their healthcare coverage to cost them about $315,000 for the remainder of their life, which is a huge jump from those that are really underestimated the cost, thinking the cost would cost them about $50,000 a year. And as well, we see that this cost has been increasing about 5% per year. So this is something huge and significant for those that are planning for retirement in the near future, as well as for those that are in retirement. as inflation has gone up this entire year, this is a huge factor that goes into play on why healthcare has been increasing the past year and as well the years before that. And some of the options you have for those that are not 65, you do have a couple options available for you if you leave the company and are thinking about healthcare coverage in retirement. So for those that are under the age of 65, you have the options of going into the COBRA plan, in which the COBRA plan is essentially going to be a 2% increase to your group rate that you're currently on in your employer, but it is only going to last you about 18 months. So this is a good alternative for those that are leaving the company and working elsewhere or planning to work elsewhere, even if it's a part-time job. This might be a good coverage for that year and a half. And as well, you do have the option to getting into your spouse's plan. So for those that are retiring before their spouse and their spouse is going to continue working for an additional couple of years, you have the option to get under their group healthcare coverage, which those rates are going to be much lower compared to if you were looking to go out and purchase healthcare coverage from the marketplace, Affordable Care Act, essentially. And as well as for those that are looking to continue working in the future, whether that's right away or a year down the road, you have the options to essentially get onto your new employer's plan, which those plans are going to be group rates. So they're going to be a lot less than going out into the healthcare market and trying to purchase healthcare coverage that way. And then the number 4 would be going out to the healthcare exchange under the Affordable Care Act and trying to purchase healthcare that way. There are subsidies that would essentially help you cover the cost if you are a low income earner. And, but right off the gate, this might not be the best choice for you. And the Affordable Care Act, might be a good alternative if you were, kind of into retirement. For the Affordable Care Act, they're actually going to look at the last 2 years of your income to determine your eligibility for subsidies. So let's say you retired last year and you're looking to go into the healthcare marketplace and purchase coverage that way. They're still going to look at the last 2 years of your lifetime. So if you were working 2 years before that and you made over a certain amount, your premium to this healthcare coverage could be significant. But let's say you were 5 years into retirement, you weren't working, and your income was very low, then the Affordable Care Act or going onto the healthcare marketplace might be the best option for you. This is something that we'd be more than happy to sit down with you and go over and kind of illustrate that in the cash flow analysis, in which the cash flow analysis gives you a picture of where you currently stand for your retirement goals, or if you're in retirement, it'll let you know how much time you have left with your money, essentially, or how long your money will outlast you. There are instances where people are in retirement and they underestimate their expenses. With that being the number 1 is healthcare. So those that really underestimated healthcare, going on to retirement, they're going to realize that, hey, healthcare actually costs a lot more and we did not expect for this, which the cash flow analysis will clarify that up, letting you know what those expenses will be down the road so you can prepare for it now while you are still working. This is something that we provide at a no cost and no charge basis. We'd be more than happy to walk you through this, especially for those that have never had an in-depth conversation with an advisor about this. And in regards to those that are 65 already, you have Medicare. So Medicare, especially Part A, is going to be free for those that are applying. You do have essentially a 6-month window to apply for Medicare. It starts 3 months before your 65th birthday and 3 months after your 65th birthday, in which the premiums for Medicare are going to be much lower. A lot of people think that Medicare is free, which in fact that is not true. Premiums are much lower than purchasing healthcare from the marketplace, ACA, or even your spouse's plan, as well as the benefits are usually better, and it guarantees up to 80% of your medical expenses The other 20% would have to come out of, your pocket. So it would be an out-of-pocket expenses for the remaining 20%. And for those that are, into retirement and beyond 65 years, there are additional or supplemental coverages that you could receive. One of them being the Medigap, which essentially you keep Medicare. You're able to choose your own doctors. The premiums are a little bit more costly, which the average cost could be anywhere from $90 to $200 a month. There are no referrals necessary, so you're able to go see any type of specialist without being referred by your primary doctor. And as well, routine services are not covered, such as vision or hearing, and it covers you anywhere in the US. And there are guaranteed renewables benefits that do not change. And as well, you do have the ability to get onto Medicare Part C, which you forfeit your original Medicare. And as well, it does restrict you to your in-network doctors. So there's less possibility of going to different type of specialists. But your premiums are lowered and it doesn't have a copay. So your premiums could be ranging anywhere from $0 a month to $100 a month, depending on the plan. And if you are looking to see a specialist, you might need some referral basis. It really depends on what type of specialist you're looking to use. And it may include extra benefits such as vision, hearing, and even fitness, unlike the Medigap. And emergency services are only outside the service areas, and benefits may be charged yearly. So that is something definitely to consider, especially for those that are looking into Medicare Part C, something that we'd be more than happy to cover with you on a one-on-one basis. And for those that are high income earners, you really have to consider your income when you're looking at Medicare. If you make over $182,000 joint, for those that are married, or $91,000 as a single individual, you may be charged an additional premium known as the income-related monthly adjustment amount, or IRMAA. This adjustment will be tacked on to your Part B, Part D premiums, and it's going to be based off your modified gross income for the past 2 years. So this is kind of one of the examples here. For this example, Bob and Jane, their income is right around $180,000 a year. Bob's total healthcare insurance premium, with all the Medicare Part A, Part B, supplemental, and Part D, which is the drug plan, that is going to be right around $304 a month. And Jane's total insurance premium, purchasing out in the marketplace, is going to be right around $1,600 a month. So a huge difference between them. Total family insurance premium is going to be right around $1,900 a month. So right here, you kind of see that difference between them due to the increase or the high income. So there are income limitations for the IRMAA, and these ones just came out recently for 2023. In which this is going to be for Part B, so the more costly part of Medicare, in which, if you earn anywhere from $97,000 or less, you're going to be expected to pay around $164 a month, and you'll see the breakdown here, year, or depending on what your income limit will be, kind of would dictate how much your premium will be for that Medicare Part B. So I just leave this up here so you guys could see this. Kind of take a screenshot of this. So as you notice, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to healthcare, your different options you have available. There are other options as well, such as the Kaiser Senior Advantage Plan. This is something that we'd be more than happy to discuss with you on a one-on-one basis to make sure you guys get a firm understanding of all of your options available. As you see here, working with a financial advisor can help you make better decisions, not only financially, but as well as, healthcare. As you see here, working with an advisor, as study has shows us, can earn you up to about a 4% rate of return on your accounts, whether that's giving you behavioral coaching, comprehensive portfolio construction or active wealth management, making sure that you're well advised in all areas, not only in your financials, but as well as in your healthcare plans, as that is one of the biggest concerns of people going into retirement, knowing, hey, am I going to be fully covered in case something were to happen to me down the road? And we'd be more than happy to set up some time with you, kind of dive a little deeper on this, have a one-on-one conversation with Kevin or myself or anybody from my team. You can actually set up some time by either giving us a call, emailing us, or scanning these QR codes here. I do look forward to connecting with you to make sure that you're on track to have a successful retirement and meet all of your retirement goals, as well to make sure that you're making the right choices in regards to your healthcare options. This is something Kevin and I would be more than happy to do with you at a no cost, no charge services, as well as provide that complimentary cash flow analysis so you guys know where you currently stand for your retirement and all of your retirement goals and needs. So I'm going to bring up the disclosure here just so you guys are aware that we are not a part of Kaiser. We are an independent firm. Although we have been talking about Kaiser all night, we are not part of Kaiser. We're an independent firm. We just specifically work with Kaiser employees, helping them with a retirement plan, making financial decisions, and ultimately guiding them through the whole retirement process. So that wraps up for the presentation. I'm going to bring Kevin back on to see if we received any incoming questions throughout this session.
Carlos, thank you for all that great information. Just a reminder to the participants, if you have any questions, please type that into the chat. We'll try to get to as many questions as possible. Carlos, it looks like we do have a couple of questions. Question number one, can I use my HSA to pay for my premiums for healthcare?
Oh, that's a great question. Bottom line is yes, but there's a lot more that goes into that. Like I mentioned before, it'd probably be best to connect with a retirement planner or retirement specialist to make sure you're making the right choices in regards to your premiums, making sure that they're all being taken care of in the most effective and tax efficient way.
Okay, great answer. Okay, it looks like the next question, Carlos. I am 64 now. Is it best to wait until I am 65 to apply for Medicare?
That's a great question. It really depends. It really depends on your situation, whether you're looking to continue working, whether you're going to be fully retired, whether you have a spouse still working. It really depends. I wouldn't say that one answer would describe everybody on the call here today. So for those that want to talk about this a little bit more in depth, I would recommend you set up some time with Kevin or myself to go over this more in depth on one-on-one basis, even run some cash flow analysis or a cash flow projection on this to make sure that you're making the right choices when it comes to your healthcare expense.
Okay, great. As we wrap things up, I'd like to thank everyone for being on today's webinar. It was very informational. If you have any questions that are currently unanswered, be sure to reach out to the retirement group. One of our licensed and trained financial advisors will be able to assist you with any questions you have. Thank you again for being in attendance today. We look forward to seeing you on the next webinar.